Fountain Medicine Show, a Revive the Red Tent production put on by Revive the Red Tent, a local Fairbanks theater company. I want to apologize to you all for making you wait. I know your time is valuable. The only reason we delayed is because there is somebody on death's door trying to get here in time. And it is my sad, sad duty to tell you they didn't make it. So I want you all just to pat yourself on the back. You made it tonight. You're here. You have a chance. Because let me tell you, there was a time I was so sick. If you walked up and told me, Alex, you're sick, I would have laughed at you in the face because I wasn't sick. I was doing well. I was strong. All that pain I was feeling, it proved I was strong. Every challenge was an opportunity to prove just how strong I was. But I was sick. Ladies and gentlemen, I was so sick I ruined every friendship I had. Till I was just a dead dog lying in the road, waiting for someone to kill me. Let me tell you right now, if I hadn't found that medicine when I did, exactly when I did, I would not be here to tell you this. I would be dead somewhere in Portland, somewhere in Chicago, somewhere where the wind just pushed me over. But that's just not what happened, is it? Because I have this medicine that's cheaper than alcohol. It's cheaper than weed. You can make it in your own home for free. Now you might ask, a medicine like that must be kind of expensive, right? Only rich men can afford that kind of medicine that cures all problems. It is a pleasure to tell you it's just not true. But I understand you're all sensible people. You don't want to just fork that hard-earned money away without proof. Well, thank goodness. Thank goodness I've got the best puppeteers and a darn good musician, Tara Chrisman. Why don't you guys come out? Come on out. Come on, everybody. One of these ensemble members, I'm not going to tell you which one. One of them I met at a party. Before that party was over, I had my hand around their throat. And we're doing this show tonight because this medicine heals also problems between people, as well as, physical and mental ailments. It really is miraculous. I mean, I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm just trying to tell you something. In any case, let's get on to, some of this stuff might not make sense. Like I said, you're not sick. I feel so glad that I can tell you it's true now. In any case, let's start with a myth. Let's go to a myth, guys. So yeah, start with the projector. Let's go with a myth about the seasons. Because many of you got that cold that's going around. It's starting to get cold outside again. There is a wolf that eats the sun. This is why there's spring. In the fall, the wolf grows hungry. The sun hangs cold and low. At first, the wolf eyes it. Then he leaps up and gulps it down. But the wolf cannot swallow it completely. For months, he gnaws it in his den, like a pat of butter that never melts, or cold caramel candy that only breaks the teeth. The wolf will not give up until the sun grows warm again. Finally, it burns his tongue like scalding, smoking butter. The wolf will never accept that some things cannot be eaten. He spits it out and bites it again. It hangs low and wet with his slobber. While it drips, we have spring. Second myth. Persephone was a lovely youth, the pride of her mother Demeter, goddess of the grain. Hades, god of the underworld, saw her beauty and could not wait for it. He snatched her down to hell. Her mother would not let life continue. Demeter wept, and the skies wept with her, and summer never came. For a year, nothing grew. Zeus came to Demeter and begged her, remember life. The world without you withers. Why will you not relent? I want to see the world fall apart, she replied. It looks right, as if life could continue without her. You say the world starves for me? A lie, I am here. The world gnaws me. It is for her, it starves. It is Hades' fault. Nothing will grow until he repents. Anyone can enter the underworld who is not already dead. They only cannot leave if they eat or drink anything there. At first, Persephone was sad and frightened. She would not eat the food because it was dry and gray, because all around her dead souls dragged their cells behind them. Soon, she wavered. She was hungry and lonely, and Hades was sweet. There seemed no reason to abstain. She ate 3 seeds of a pomegranate. Too late. Mercury came to rescue her. For each seed, she must spend 1 month with Hades in the underworld. This is why there's winter. Tell me the truth, bookman. The bookman speak too slow. Big flat computer cop, tell me the truth that changes and is true. Little boy, love every day, and someday you will be half adult, not have anyone in your sleeping bag. You will have dirt in your hair from loneliness. Let up some treble sometime, lest this heart that beat inside you stop from loneliness. Little boy, who told you having someone beside you was the answer? Was it when you had them, or before? When you were watching the television cop, the computer dream, when she imperfect said, I am real, could you hear her? Or did you forget that her heart, yours also, were only real together? Hades and Persephone sit beside each other, beside undead plants which grow without sunlight, screening the suffering and the simply tired, the dead. Do they play at droughts? Does Hades declaim? You have to rake gravel, because otherwise organic material forms soil and turns green. You have to rake gravel, because nature is real and everything dies. Because tomorrow you'll need to rake it again. Gravel must be raked a year or more before anything changes. It is a joy to be alive and let rock clean itself. To change things that will be unchanged tomorrow. It is a joy to stand in the rain and breathe. Jenna Piltry cared for the things she owned. Her apartment was unobtrusively clean and unabashedly well decorated. Strangers complimented her on her bathroom. Neighbors smiled walking past her door. Her living room hosted musicians, and her couch slept travelers from around the world. Of course she lived alone, the privacy worth the rent. She made a center, Someplace people met new friends. Jenna loved guests and parties. She loved being able to tell them to leave. Jenna's great sorrow was her love of things. An attractive woman who'd opened her home. She had seen the world through travelers' eyes, but her life was too comfortable and she could not leave it, although some days her shelves collected dust only. She wondered showering when she would ride a train homeless, camp for weeks because when she'd be free of rent and plants and the endless beautiful calendar of feasts and plans and celebrations. She didn't understand the sadness her guests sometimes showed at her yearnings. Their painful recognition seemed a simple thing. It was simple to Jenna that travelers would feel pain talking to someone happy at home. All right, Jill. And ladies and gentlemen, I know poetics have a real ability to reach people, to evoke. But Sarah, would you dance with me? Thank you. I think there's something special about the dance.
How to chase my blues away. I've been right up till now.
There was a time I couldn't dance. I was lying on the ground. There was a time.
My loneliness calls. Oh, I wanna dance with somebody. I wanna feel the heat with somebody. Yeah, I wanna dance with somebody. With somebody who loves me. Oh, I wanna dance.
I don't even know Sarah. I just met her tonight. But I figured I don't know anyone so much as I know myself. And if you want to go to the pub later tonight, from Portland, Oregon, leave me as a rose. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention how the last time I was in Portland back in September 2013, we looked for eggs outside her house and then stood in front of her sink. She asked me when I was going back to Portland.
I need a man to take a chance.
And this is my answer.
Love burns hot enough to last. So when the night falls, my lonely heart calls. Oh, I wanna dance with somebody. I wanna feel the heat with somebody. Yeah, I wanna dance with somebody. With somebody who loves me. I wanna dance with somebody. I wanna feel the heat. Yeah, I wanna dance with somebody. With somebody who loves me.
Thanks for the dance. Ladies and gentlemen, please, a hand for the silver dancers. And I'm telling you the truth, I've never met her before, and I'm telling you the truth, I got a medicine that can cure you. Simple as that. Take it away.
Throughout all lands and across every sea, Demeter sought her stolen daughter.
Throughout all lands and across every sea, Demeter sought her stolen daughter.
Aurora's ruddy dawn found her weeping. Hesperus's creeping gloom darkened
Aurora's ruddy
still
dawn
wet
found her
cheeks.
weeping.
Throughout all lands and across every sea, Demeter sought her stolen daughter. Aurora's ruddy dawn found her weeping. Hesperus's creeping gloom darkened still wet cheeks. At night, Demeter bore burning branches through the frosty darkness and called and listened. When the genial day dulled the light of the stars, she sought her daughter in its light. Fatigued by her labor, she has now contracted thirst, and no streams have washed her mouth. When by chance she beheld a cottage covered in thatch, and knocked at its humble door. An old woman emerged and saw the goddess, and gave her a sweet drink distilled from parched pearl barley. While she was drinking it, a bold, impudent boy stood before the goddess and laughed and called her greedy. She was offended, and a part not yet being quaffed, the goddess sprinkled him with it. His face contracted into stains, and his arms and legs shriveled. A tail was added to his changed limbs. He was reduced into a newt. He scurried from the old woman, astounded and weeping, trying to avoid touching his monstrous self. Ladies and gentlemen, the newt.
My hands turn brown, shrivel up. My face is not my own. My limbs are distorted. She changed the nature of my bones. And far behind, a tail has grown. My skin feels soft and damp. Now you can see my situation. Should have held my tongue, avoided this transformation. Always me. Such a future I could not see. What are my prospects now? Crawling so low to the ground. But now that I'm a newt, my days are free. My time is spent among the leaves. I don't have to labor when the day begins. Just hang with new cool amphibian friends.
One of the reasons I had to have this newt in the show is because the amphibian state really resonated with me. Half in the water, half on the earth. You know, well, aren't we all sometimes swimming, sometimes digging? Don't we all sometimes eat algae, sometimes look for grains and insects in the water and the earth? Ladies and gentlemen, when Demeter was looking for her daughter, she felt like a newt that had never seen any water at all. She felt like a desert stretched away from her, and there was no one in it. No one at all. But I got some poetry to talk about that. All right, yeah, let's get on there. It were a tedious task to name the lands and seas the goddess wandered. For her search, the world was too limited. Eventually she found an ornament of Persephone, a twining carving cone, which by chance had fallen off in the place where Hades opened the earth. When Demeter recognized this, at last she fully understood. Her daughter had been carried away. The goddess tore her unadorned hair and struck her breast again and again with her hands. Nor yet does she know where she is, yet she exclaims against all countries and calls them ungrateful and not worthy of the gifts of soil. With vengeful hand she breaks the plows that turn clods and racks with fever husbandmen and oxen that cultivate fields, and renders the seed corrupted and earth clay. Humanity starves. Sometimes excessive heat of the sun, sometimes excessive showers spoil all growth. The constellations and winds injure us, and greedy birds pick up seed as it is sown. Thistles and unconquerable weeds choke the good grain. No bees are seen, only flies and sullen hornets. At last, despairing, humanity returns to the temples and prays. Only a god could have brought this disaster. Only a god can take it away. Please, let us live. And then the winter comes. The winter that's already in those 70-degree days outside. There's a reason the trees are changing, they're running away. The wolf's teeth will soon nibble at our houses. Snow buries it all. When you go outside tonight, remember the winter that is coming. And if I were you, I wouldn't want to go out into that winter with just the Tylenol I picked up at Mr. Meyer's Freddy store. Oh no, because that Tylenol might take away your headache, but does it take away your pain? Well, we're getting towards the middle of the show, and that's when I start to introduce the idea that there is actually medicine that you can purchase. There is a medicine. It's all true. That's all I'll tease you with, though, because without the hook, the fish just doesn't swim the way you want it to, right? But let us go now to that throne of God's Olympus, where seat of the mighty king of the gods, Jupiter, who is petitioned by worthy goddess of the grain, Demeter. I have come, Jupiter, as a suppliant to thee, both for my own offspring and for thine. If thou hast no respect for the mother, still let the daughter move her father. Lo, my daughter, so long sought for, has been found by me at last, if you call it finding to know where she is. I will endure the fact that she has been carried off, if he will only restore her. A daughter of thine is not deserving of a ravisher for a husband. Jupiter replied, if thy eagerness is so great for their separation, let Proserpine return to heaven, still upon this fixed condition, if she has touched no food there with her lips, for thus it has been provided by the law of the destinies. Thus he spoke. Demeter was resolved to fetch her daughter, but the fates refused. For the damsel had broken her fast, and, while in her innocence she was walking about Hades' garden, she had plucked a pomegranate from the bending tree, and had chewed in her mouth 7 grains taken from the pale rind. Persephone, you're barely here,
You know,
and then when you are here, you don't even have time to just sit down and enjoy your time with
you
them.
know, I'm actually really glad you've given me this opportunity to sort of talk about things, because I would have thought after so many years you could have at least bought me a dishwasher.
So many years.
I
Well,
mean-
I only get a half of those years anyway,
Well,
you know.
the whole thing is that I only ate 6 seeds, and I think for 6 seeds
Yeah.
I should get at least a dishwasher or like a driver.
Well, I think you're ready for 6 more seeds. What do you think about that? Time to be with me for real, huh?
No, because see, here's the thing, is that I feel like I'm really stretched in a lot of different directions right now, and you're really not like attributing to my growth as a person at all. You're just like dragging me down here, and I have to be down
You're
here.
queen of the dead.
Yeah.
Like, the
but-
dead is a big kingdom. There are a lot of dead people.
Yeah, but they're all dead. Like, that's the whole problem. Like, they can't help with my growth as a person because I'm still alive. And they're like pushing rocks up the hill or something, and I'm down here like, hello, it's about me now. You
He
know what I
deserves
mean?
that.
Well, yeah, I know. But see, the whole point.
You
is
just
that-
don't see any point to this whole thing. You walk in, you eat your seeds, you walk out again, you leave my heart breaking.
Yeah, but see, here's the thing. Is it's like, when is it Persephone's time, right? I mean, it's all about someone.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm glad that's not the only part I have to deal with. My goodness. Let me give a big hand for that beautiful person. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. You might have wondered, is there a point to this art? And I would turn that question back around to you. Is there a point to your existence? Are you actually doing anything? I'm sure you are. Revel in it, accept it, embrace it. But what I want to bring on is just a notable scholar, a charming gentleman, an excellent dancer too. He couldn't be in the dance part just for logistical reasons, but he's got something really important he wanted to talk to us about tonight. I want to welcome in thank you. Thank you, man. All right, ladies and gentlemen, please don't listen to this, snake oil salesman over here, but listen to the truth.
Now, I've been given this talk many times by many people. Don't be aggressive. Police usually work in groups of two. You see one, assume there is one you cannot see. 9 times out of 10, the juries will believe the police over believing you. Don't fight back. If a cop hits you, hope that someone notices and will say something. Never match outfits. More than 3 men dressed in the same color equals a game. Now, when I was younger, I listened. But I didn't really think it applied to me. My eyes weren't opened until I was older. I was stopped numerous times in high school. I was carrying this thing around and was once pulled off the train by a policeman who thought it was a bomb or that I was smuggling drugs or weapons. In college, I was accused of stealing laptops. A policeman actually came to my door. He was actually pretty nice, though. What I'm saying is, I think the advice I was given is great. It's very practical. I plan on having kids someday, and I want to be a good role model. But I keep finding myself in the world they're going to be living in. The future doesn't look so bright. A growing fear of mine is that I will die at the hands of a police officer. What scares me the most is it happening in front of my children. I have a 24-year-old son. I've given him the talk. He's been with me when I've been pulled over, mostly because the police recklessly eyeballed him without realizing that I was driving the car. So he knows the drill. Do not answer any questions. Ask the police before you reach for your license. Ask for permission before you get your insurance and registration out of the glove box. Do not answer any questions. Just do as you were told. Once, while at the shopping mall, a police approached my son and asked him, "Did you just leave the mall?" I intervened. I instructed my son to never, ever answer a question from the police. Just keep asking, "Am I free to go?" But do not answer any questions. Keep asking, "Am I free to go? What are the charges? Am I under arrest? May I make a phone call?" But do not answer any questions. Do not move suddenly. Do not get smart alecky. Do not run. If a cop starts swinging, protect your head and vital organs by curling up in a ball on the ground on your knees. I've given my son the talk. And it scares me that in 2014, I text and call my son throughout the day, not because I miss him so much, but because I'm concerned for his safety in this racist, militaristic society.
Thank you, Marley. Thank you so much. Thank you. It's all for him. Well, I wouldn't have had such heavy subject matter if my medicine didn't also work on the police. The ceremonies of the lesser mysteries were entirely different from those of the greater mysteries. The lesser mysteries represented the return of Persephone to Earth, which of course took place at Eleusis, while the greater mysteries represented her descent to the infernal regions. In the lesser mysteries, Persephone was known as Periphala, and in the greater mysteries, she was given the name of Kor. Everything was, in fact, a mystery, and nothing was called by its right name. The object of the mysteries was to signify occultly the condition of the impure soul invested with a terrine body and merged in a material nature, to intimate by gorgeous, mystic visions the felicity of the soul, both here and hereafter, when purified from material defilements. Every year at the time of harvest, Persephone was carried from the world above to the dark dominions of the invisible king of shadows. Every spring she returned in youthful beauty to the arms of her mother. It was thus that the ancient Greeks described the disappearance and return of vegetable life and the alterations of the seasons. The changes of nature were the changes of humanity, Persephone was queen of the dead. The human voice is preeminently a magical instrument, without which none of the highest operations of art can be successful. Each of its utterances is carried into the region of the invisible, and there releases forces of which the general run of people have no idea, either as to their existence or their manifold force. And, without doubt, the real value of an evocation lies in its text, or the sequence of the words of which it is composed, and the tone in which it is enunciated. In order to be efficacious, the conjuration should be accompanied by chanting, either an incantation or a song. One false note, one mistake in the measure, the introversion of any two of the sounds of which it is composed, and the intended effect is annulled. This is the reason why all who recite a prayer or formula intended to force the gods to perform certain acts must be of true voice. Apart from a true voice, the words are merely dead sounds. Even animals and serpents are amenable to the influence of sound. The vulnerability of susceptible people and small children to chanting is well known. The Hierophant was a revealer of holy things. Prior to his ceremony, he went through a special purificatory rite, immersing himself in the sea. And this rite was only partially accomplished during my recent visit to Juneau, Alaska. I apologize to the gods and promise, with their help, I will complete it soon. The robe of the Hierophant is a long purple garment, here orange for dramatic effect. His hair, crowned with a wreath of myrtle, flowed in long locks over his shoulder, and a diadem ornamented his forehead. At the celebration of the mysteries, he was held to represent the creator of the world. He alone was permitted to penetrate into the innermost shrine in the Hall of Mysteries, the Holy of Holies, as it were, and then only during the celebration of the mysteries, when, at the most solemn moment, the whole of the